Hello students, welcome to today's session on law of diminishing marginal utility. In this topic, I'm going to cover in three sections: introduction of law of diminishing marginal utility, post that explanation with example and schedule, and I'll conclude with assumptions and conclusion. All right. So to begin with, introduction of law of diminishing marginal utility, let's start with definition. In economics, how it is defined. All right. So the law of diminishing marginal utility states that as a person, as a consumer, as a customer, more units of a goods or services, that additional satisfaction. So recently we have gone through that topic, the marginal utility. So the additional satisfaction obtained from each extra unit decreases. Here is the word in which I can emphasize more. So the satisfaction obtained from each extra unit decreases, right? So additional satisfaction at after the certain extent, the additional satisfaction, okay, obtained from each extra unit will start decreasing. All right. So what is the importance to study this and why it is important for an economist? Okay. It helps us to understand why consumers stop buying more of a product even it is or if it is available, right? So if the product are produced and it is available or easily available in the market, still people are not ready to buy on that much quantity. Here is the concept that diminishing marginal utility derives or understand or help to understand why consumers stop buying more of a product even it is easily available. The reason being because after the certain extent, even that they are buying or they are consuming or they are using one extra unit, definitely it starts decreasing their level of satisfaction. All right, that comes under marginal utility concept. Okay, so it is nothing but diminishing trend or in the downward trend. All right, now next one is the key idea. So the key idea is the total utility may increase, but the marginal utility diminishes. So it could be a situation or it could be a possibility, right? The total utility may increase. Okay, people may consume more, but the marginal utility diminishes with successive consumptions, right? So after a certain extent, even though they are consuming one more extra unit, definitely their marginal utility start diminishing. So that concept, the diminishing marginal utility concept, helps to decide, to understand why people or consumers stop buying more of a product, even it is available in the market. Moving to the next, that is explanation. Okay, so here I can explain you with an example. Okay, suppose a person or a group or member eating apples. Okay, so the first apple gives highest satisfaction, say 20 utilizations. Okay, just an hypothetical example, right? Second apple gives less satisfaction because first one, it's a temptation, right? Second one is maybe less, 15 units or 15 utilization. Third apple even get less, right? Even less, 10 units. By the fifth apple, marginal utility becomes 0, right? And may become negative if hitting more. Okay, so let me repeat 1 second. So the first unit or the consumption of first unit of apple will give more, satisfaction, and gradually it will start decreasing in trend. At certain point or after certain extent, it may go in negative, right? So after eating 5 apple, maybe the sixth one will not give you, or maybe in a dissatisfaction kind of, or maybe the negative satisfaction. Why I'm saying this? Because they will reach at the highest level of utilization. Correct? So post that it will start in diminishing nature. Okay, so here the concept to understand, okay, why the marginal utility started diminishing after a certain extent or certain points. All right, I hope it is clear. Moving to the next one. Okay, so that is the assumptions and conclusion, because the law of diminishing marginal utility also having some assumptions. Okay, so what all those assumptions, otherwise that law will not, I can say satisfied their rules. So assumptions like utility is measurable. Definitely, if it is not measurable, how anyone can measure after eating one apple there is 20 utility, or maybe the 30 utility, something like that. Correct. So mostly I would say you know uh, the assumptions that cannot break the law, but yeah, that is required to understand. These are the assumptions. So utility is measurable. If it is not measurable, that law cannot be implemented, or maybe not give the clear idea on that. Consumption is continuous and reasonable quantity. Yeah, the second assumption is consumption is continuous. So even if you are talking about the hypothetical example, right, it should be continued, right? Otherwise how we can analyze or decide or understand law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so consumption is in continuous in nature and reasonable quantity, right? It should not be like all of a sudden very high then it's low, something like that. Next one is consumers taste remain changed. Yes, that is more crucial. Okay, so if the taste is changed, right, maybe they will start, they will stop buying that product. So here is to analyze the law of diminishing marginal utility. Consumers taste or customers taste remain unchanged. There should not be any change in their taste, or maybe the vishesh. Okay, they cannot change it. So assumptions. Next one is goods consumed are identical. Definitely. If it is niche, then it would be difficult to analyze. If it is individual product in the market, then it will definitely difficult to analyze by this law. That's the reason assumption is goods consumed are always identical in nature, right? Then and then only we can analyze law of diminishing marginal utility. Okay, so just to conclude this, considering this all these assumptions, right, the law explains consumer behaviors as satisfaction from consuming one more unit decreases, consumers diversify their consumption instead of increasing quantity of one good, right? Because after certain extent it would be like a uh, uh, downward trend of the satisfaction. So if it is in downward trend, definitely they will choose the other alternatives, right? So maybe they can diversify the consumptions, maybe goods A, goods B, even though it's identical in nature, but yes, definitely they will diversify their consumptions instead of increasing quantity of one goods, right? So, I hope everyone understand this. All right. So that's all for today's topic, today's session. I hope you all understood the topic. Keep practicing, and I'll see you next time. If you have any doubts, please connect or please contact me through my Urban Pro profile. Thank you.